everybody, and welcome to Classic Gamer 74. I'm your host, Anthony Gamer, and today's episode is about brain exercising games for the Atari 2600. Now, if you're like me, you grew up playing the Atari 2600, and which means you're probably in your mid to late 40s or above. And once you get past the age of 40, you probably have started to lose your short-term memory in some ways. For instance, you walk into a room and you forgot why you went there. Or you go to a website on the computer and you forgot why you were there in the first place. Well, these kind of things are just normal part of growing old. Now, if the problem becomes very serious, like you are forgetting really important things, please do go see a doctor. But if it's just the normal, everyday forgetting things, well, the best thing you can do is to exercise your brain, much like your muscles. So today I'm going to share with you a few games that will help you to exercise your gray matter. All the games that are going to be profiled today, with the exception of one, are going to be played using the keyboard controllers. Now, you didn't purchase them for no reason at all. And of course, they didn't come standard with the Atari 2600, so you might as well get some use out of them if you haven't already. Now, if you prefer to not use the keyboard controller, don't fret, because there are other alternatives. For instance, you can use this, the video touchpad that came with Star Raiders. It's totally compatible, and you can see that the buttons are a little bit larger. And actually, if you don't have this, it's quite inexpensive. I've actually seen these go for about $5 or $10 without Star Master. Star Raider, excuse me. Wrong game, quite similar. So this can actually be used for more than just that particular game. However, if you like the really big buttons, you can also use the kids controller. Look how big this is. Same thing, it is compatible with all games that are keyboard controllers, and you have much larger buttons that you can use here in order to play the game. It's your choice, but you do have the choice of 3 different ones. So let's get into the games and check them out. Alright, the first game today is aptly named Brain Games. It's from 1978 and was programmed by Larry Kaplan. In this game, you have several different games to play, such as Touch Me, Count Me, Picture Me, Find Me, Add Me, and Play Me. So let's check these games out. The first game you have here is Touch Me, which is simply like the game Simon, in which you are just repeating the pattern that is given to you. You have 10 different levels for this game, and it gets kind of difficult as time goes on, but it helps to improve your memory. Next one we have is Count Me. It's very similar to Touch Me, but instead of sounds, you're trying to remember a pattern of numbers. Next up we have Picture Me. In this one, you are trying to remember the sequence of pictures and reproduce it. The next one we have is Find Me. In this one, you are trying to find the picture in a series of 4 that doesn't belong. In Add Me, you're trying to add up the column of numbers as quickly as you can before time runs out. And finally, you have Play Me. In this one, you are simply trying to play a song using your keypad, which is a good way to relax after all that hard work. Next up, we have a game of concentration, also known as Hunt and Score, programmed by Jim Huther. Game of concentration is pretty much like that game Memory that you probably played as a kid or have played with your children. This game, you have 16 different squares to look under, and you have to simply match the pictures. Sometimes it's just pure luck. Other times, you just kind of have to memorize where the pictures are. In higher levels, you have more squares to choose from. Really a fun game. Not a kid's game. Well, it can be a kid's game, but also for those of us that are trying to remember stuff, this game is a big help. Also, it's more than happy to let you know when you fail by that horrible sound that you've been hearing, but it's really nice to hear that beeping sound when you get it right. Next up, we have Codebreaker from 1978. In this game, the computer has picked a 3-digit code. The numbers run between 1 and 6, and you are trying to figure out what that code is. Now, they give you hints along the way. If you pick, you always get a choice of 3 numbers, and they will tell you if you have one of the right numbers, or if you have the right number but in the wrong slot. So you have about 10 different times to get it. Now, there is a 2-player mode in which you can pick the code for your opponent, or the computer picks the code, and whoever gets the code right is the winner. The object here is to get as many codes right in the least number of guesses. Next, we have Basic Programming by Warren Robinett from 1978. Basic Programming is probably one of the most involved programs, you can't really call it a game, on the Atari 2600, and you need a lot of extras in order to use it. First off, you need the Atari 2600, obviously. Then you have the game cartridge, and you will need both of your keyboard controllers. Notice how they slip together there. Probably didn't know that. Then, of course, you're going to need the instruction manual. And last of all, you're going to need these overlays that go over the keyboard. I'm going to have a video later on where I go into great detail of how to actually run basic programming with the help of the instruction manual that goes into a lot of great details. But let's do a quick overview of it right now. Okay, taken directly from an old Atari catalog, it says, "Want to learn how to talk to a computer? Atari's basic programming cartridge can show you how. You'll get the basics of computer language and programming, what to say, and how to say it. Pretty soon you'll be programming your computer to print messages, play games, even play a tune. Before you know it, you and your computer will be making beautiful music together." Now, in this particular program itself, you don't have a lot of memory to play with, so you're kind of limited on what you can do. Now, if you've ever had a dream of being a great game programmer like John Champeau or Thomas Jensch, this is where you can start out. With this particular program, it will show you how to, in the book, with the help of the book, you can make number counters, you can make songs, and you can make your own Pong. A very useful program that can show you how to use the computer language that was around back in the days of Atari. And our final game today is probably one of the rarest Atari games known to man, and that is Video Life, from 1982 by Comavid, programmed by John Bronstein, who also designed it, and designed by Irwin Gaines and Joseph Beal. Now, the story behind Video Life, and this comes directly from AtariAge.com, this rare game was only available to owners of Magic Card, making it perhaps the rarest of all 2600 games. It was only available directly from Comavid, who sent a letter to owners of Magic Card with an offer to purchase Video Life. We believe fewer than 500 copies of Video Life were produced, and there are probably many fewer still floating around today. I spoke to my friend Dave, who many of you remember was the gentleman that loaned me the Pink Panther game, and asked him what this game usually goes for. He says if you can actually find it, it usually goes anywhere from about $5,000 to $8,000. Yikes. Okay, so what's this game all about anyway? From the instructions, it says Video Life is an unusual video game. The object of playing Video Life is not to achieve a high score, but rather to create beautiful changing patterns from simple beginnings. What you do in this one is create a particular shape. Now, when you're done creating the shape, you press the button on the joystick, and it will start like multiplying almost. That's the best way to put it. And you try to see for how long the particular creature that you made can keep multiplying. I've had some go really long distances, and like you saw right there, that one didn't do so hot. I've kind of noticed that if you do real particular shapes, or you do shapes that are a little ways away from each other, you get some really cool results. So go ahead and check out some of the stuff I've been able to do with this program and see what you think. I highly recommend this game as you can really get some cool shapes and some cool patterns going. Of course, I don't recommend spending $5,000 to $8,000 on it, but if you have an emulator like the Z26 or Stella, there's only one place you can go to get the ROM, and that is, bam, AtariAge.com. So head over there and check it out and see some of the cool shapes and patterns you can make, and let me know about them in the comment section below. I'm kind of curious as to what you come up with. Earlier I mentioned Magic Card, which was the program that you had to purchase back in the day in order to get video life. It is quite similar to basic programming, except on a much larger scale. In a later episode, I will show you how to use Magic Card once I figure it out. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Classic Gamer 74. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give us a great big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to click that little bell icon so you'll be notified when I upload new videos, as I upload them about every 3 to 4 days. In the next episode, I'm going to discuss basketball games, as we are in the midst of March Madness, so you're not going to want to miss that one. Until next time, this has been Anthony Gamer. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see each and every one of you in the next episode. Until then, have yourselves a great day. Goodbye.